everyone, my name is Sadie from the blog of Wisconsin Homestead Journey, and today we are talking about why we homestead, what is a homestead, and why we chose this path for our family. So the roots for us wanting to be homesteaders has been placed in us since we were young, and I kind of go back and forth wanting to call us a homesteader or not because I feel silly using the term, to be honest. But I guess that's the best way to describe how it is that we're choosing to live and how we want to live. So when I say homesteader, what I'm really thinking about is that we are really focused on our home. The things that we grow here are for our home. The things that the meat and the animals that we grow here are for our home. We're not really trying to raise a profit or create a profit. It would be nice to bring in some income, but that's not our main purpose for living the way that we want to live. Instead, our main goal as homesteaders is to be self-sufficient, as self-sufficient as possible on our home property. The difference between how we live and how a farmer might live would be, I would say that a farmer's main purpose is to create an income from their property. So they might milk cows because they're going to be selling the milk to make money to earn their living. They might raise beef cattle because they're going to be selling beef as a way to make their living. Same with pork or meat chickens. The main goal of a farm, I feel, is to sell a product to create an income for oneself. Whereas us on a homestead, Dee and I both have full-time jobs outside of our homestead. And though we would love to homestead full-time and make this our full-time job, we don't make money off of our homestead. What we're doing is more of a hobby that is a way to fulfill the needs of our family. So we garden, we raise cows, we have done meat birds, we have laying hens, and we do those things because we want to be able to serve our family in some way. Like I said before, our goals of wanting to homestead have been rooted in us deeply since we were young. Both Dee's family, Dee's grandparents, and my grandparents both had dairy farms when we were growing up, and we both spent a ton of time there at our grandparents' farms, just exploring and learning how to live that way. And our parents both had big gardens and still have big gardens. And that way of living is a really common way of living around here. And I feel a lot of people have that desire to continue to carry on that tradition and that way of living as a tradition. And Dee and I were no exception. We really enjoyed having a garden, and we've had a garden and grown something since we were married and living in town, like directly in town. We had a small little garden that we tore up part of the yard to make a garden, and we have always wanted to get back out into the country. So what has motivated that decision? What has pushed us to not want to live the norm? Why are we not okay with just going to the store, and why do we have to do everything ourselves? There's a lot to be said and a lot to gain from doing things the traditional way and the slow way. And to me personally, I'm sorry, I'm shivering. It is so cold. I'm going back inside. For me personally, the reason that I wanted to homestead is just a way to get back to living the way I feel we were designed to live. And to me that meant living with the seasons, recognizing that different times of the year are created and designed the way that they are because they produce a feeling in us. They produce a natural response from us that we should be listening to. And the way that God has designed our world, in my opinion, is perfectly created. And we have an opportunity to live using everything that He's given us. Yet, we prefer to do things out of convenience and out of time restraints rather than live the way that our world is set up for humans to live. Our society pushes better, faster, everything. We're just never content. We're always working to make things easier for us. We're always working to make things available to us. If you think about the way that our world is right now, we have access to pretty much anything that we need or want at the tips of our fingers through our smartphones. We have access to information. We have access to goods and items. We are never in want for anything because we are always able to get everything. The same thing with the news. Humans, I feel like we just are not designed to carry all of the weight and the burden that the news shares with us each day. It is God's world, and He is the one who carries the burden and weight of this world. And for us to take on all of that weight and all of that heaviness, it is so overwhelming. And I don't think that that is how we're designed. We're not designed to know everything that's going on in every part of the world because it's too much for us to handle. It's too much for us to carry. We need to just take care of what we can take care of. And yes, if we have that extra energy and we have that extra space, I think it's a wonderful thing when humans are helping other humans. But mentally, it's exhausting to feel the need to carry the weight of all the sadness of what's happening in our world. So, why am I telling you all of this? Why am I sharing all of these personal thoughts and beliefs with you? Well, the main reason is this is why we homestead. This is why we've chosen to just zero in on our own little 40 acres here and make it as back to nature as we possibly could. By choosing to raise our own animals for meat, by choosing to milk our own cow, by choosing to garden and eat the fresh vegetables from our garden and preserve those vegetables for the winter, we are taking back control over our lives. We are the ones who say we're not okay with the chemicals that are being put into our food, so instead we're going to grow our own. I'm not okay with the way that animals are treated in meat farms, these huge commercial meat farms. I'm not okay with it. I would rather raise my meat and raise my animals with compassion and give them the best life that they can have, and then they can serve our family as well. It's a chance for us to just say, let's just slow down a minute and not focus in on how can I be better, how can I be faster, how can I make more money. Instead, focus in on what is the best for our family and how are we going to get the best for our family back to our house. When we thought about what we wanted for our children, we thought that we wanted to give them a life that they could explore in nature. We wanted to give them a childhood like our own, where we were involved with the animals on our grandparents' farm, where we were running around outside all day long, just enjoying the earth and playing with rocks and mud and pretending. And we just wanted to simplify life for our kids. We don't want them to be overwhelmed by the weight of this world. We don't want their bodies to be filled with food from people who don't care about them. We don't want our children to be owned and a slave to a screen. So we decided that if we want to give our children a childhood like we had and an opportunity to grow up with the natural world that God created, then we were going to have to make a change. And so we sold our house. We moved out to the country. We lived in a camper for some time, moved in with my parents for the winter, and we built a house in the middle of nowhere. We brought our chicken flock with. We bought a milk cow. We bought meat birds, and we dove head first into living a simple life. Now I'm saying a simple life but our life is anything but simple. We've chosen to take the road less traveled by, the harder route. Instead of buying a box of noodles for my family, I might make them from scratch. Instead of buying the dollar can of tomato sauce, I can and preserve our tomatoes from our garden so that we have that food. When we don't have cucumbers in the winter, we very rarely buy them from the store. If we run out of things that we can't have outside, food-wise, I don't buy it as often from the store. I try to live with the seasons. So in the winters, we eat a lot of root vegetables and meats and potatoes and carrots and things like that to get us through fermented foods and preserved foods, frozen foods. We eat those things that have been prepared from our land and preserved for the winter so that our bodies are recognizing that this is a slower time. It's a time of rest. The nighttime comes faster. Our bodies feel tired sooner. In the summer, when the daylight goes until almost 10 o'clock at the peak of summer, our bodies are still going and living and not tired at that time because the daylight is still there. And in the winter and the fall, it's different. As the darkness comes in, our bodies feel that and we slow down too. Our food reflects that slowness. It can take more time to prepare. In the summer, we eat lots of fresh vegetables and things from our garden that are fast to put together. Everything is made by hand because it gives us time to process what we're doing. It gives us time to think about how grateful we are. As I finished making the chicken broth today and I was picking all the meat off of the bones, I was thinking about the chickens that had lived here this spring, and I was sad when they had to go to the butcher. But I was also extremely grateful for the fact that we were able to raise this animal in a place where it had a good life. They were happy, and they wouldn't have experienced that somewhere else. I was thinking about that as I pulled all the meat from the bones, going through to make sure that we wouldn't get any bones into our broth or into our meat. And if you don't have that, if you take away and just throw a couple chicken breasts in the crock pot in the morning, it's taking away the value of the life of the animal that died for you to eat. It's taking away the specialness of the process of cleaning the meat off of an animal. It's taking you away from that connection to something else that is filling your belly and giving you life. Now, of course, I know that everybody can't do this, and the impact of money on our society as a whole and our health insurance situation is a huge reason that everyone can't do this. And I know that a lot of people might not even want to do this. But for us and our family, these are the things that are important. We want to know where our food's coming from. We want to be responsible for providing food for ourselves. We want to eat wholesome food and just enjoy the simple gifts that come along with living this way. We want to enjoy the time that we get to spend together in the garden. We want to enjoy the conversations that we have over late night applesauce makings, or the excitement of a little boy's face when he's invited to stay up past bedtime as he gets to help turn the applesauce maker while his sisters are sleeping. It's those little things like that living this lifestyle can provide that you just don't get in a fast-paced, go lifestyle. And I'm just so grateful that we get to live this way. So there you have it. That is our personal reasons for homesteading. And again, I realize fully that this is not a lifestyle that everyone wants. There are people in this world who really enjoy the fast-paced lifestyle. They love doing activities. They love being social with other people. And there are people in this world who love to slow down, to stay home, to do things with their family. And our world needs all types of people, and I encourage all of you to do whatever makes your heart truly happy. And for us, living a slow-paced lifestyle that focuses on the process of creating is exactly what our family needs, exactly what we are looking for, and this is why we homestead.